抬头，也许没多久之后就会看到一架无人机。无人机是否让人不生其扰？还是监视我们的耳目？
This is the eye in the sky. This is the big enchilada of surveillance.
它能改变我们对世界的看法吗
For the first time in history, we can see the world from above eye level, and not out of the porthole of a jetliner.
It's going to lead to a lot of complexity, really, a lot of complexity. It could be a very scary world. On the other hand, it may be a utopia, who knows?
欢迎来到无人机的时代。无人机在世界各地的战区被视为最有效率的杀人机器。军事技术即将出现在你家附近的空中。据估计，到了2020年，北美的空中会有2万架无人机。
They're robots, and robots are fascinating, but also we tend to associate them with the theater of war. We tend to think of them as military equipment come home.
军事研发部门花了好几百万创造的无人机，现在有了许多新的任务。无人机有很多不同的形状和大小，从跟飞机差不多大的到这么小的都有。以往着重于军事工业的商品展，已经把焦点转到一个快速成长的全球新兴市场。AUVSI 是机器人工业的博览会，展出的商品五花八门，从可以在地上前进的摄影机，到爬楼梯的机器人跟电玩控制器，甚至还有现实生活中的游戏角色。但今年最热门的是无人机，即從军事装备转移到民间的应用。
Now that we see the wars in Afghanistan winding down, In Situ is international and commercial market in support of gas and oil companies.
We predict that this industry within the first 3 years of integration has the potential to create 70,000 new jobs in America. So this is a big industry that's only going to get bigger.
无人机似乎是下一波重点趋势，大家都想分一杯羹。
We in Ohio believe that we have a strong, I would say, basis to bring that industry to our state.
The University of North Dakota has an unmanned aviation pilot training program.
There's enough business there that companies are succeeding. There are a lot of people being employed. There's a lot of work being done. There's a lot of revenue being earned.
Huge potential. Every research group that does a study says this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And I would say that, Canada, we have the ability to lead the world in this.
这门工业很新，大家还在摸索相关的应用。
We've sold into Chile for forestry applications, flare stacks, oil and gas industry. So all these things are possible out in the commercial sector that have nothing to do with the military.
克里斯·安德森曾经是连线杂志的编辑，但后来离职自组公司3D Robotics。
So this is a drone. It's one of many different kinds of drones. This one's a quadcopter. What makes it a drone is that it's got a brain. It can fly by itself. It's autonomous. 5 years ago, this was military technology, $1 million. 2 years ago, it was very high-end commercial stuff, $30,000. This one's $750. What happened is that basically smartphone technology, the sensors, the GPS, the processors, turned out to be the enabling technology for low-cost drones. It uses the same sensors, same kind of processors, just laid out in a different form.
现在人人都买得起无人机，人们开始发挥天马行空的想象力。这是旧金山的制造者嘉年华会，数千名制造者在这里展示他们的创意结晶。
Well, here at Maker Faire, we've got over 80 project creators, and that represents over 100 projects. So it's really the full spectrum of categories. So obviously people know about Kickstarter as a funding platform. But beyond that, creators come to Kickstarter because it's a way to first build their initial community.
We make the world's first smart lighter to help people quit smoking.
We make an extruder add-on for existing 3D printers that lets you work with paste materials, cake icing, Nutella. So it makes 3D printing a lot more exciting.
无人机是嘉年华会的明星， 尤其是受到业余发明家和制造社群的喜爱。
It's just that community is that we get together and we really have that mindset to help each other out and learn together. So that's just it's not only just about quadcopters, but it's about sharing technology and sharing expertise with one another.
在竞技场举办的赛事最受瞩目。
This is the first official Game of Drones, out loud and proud here at Maker Faire.
Let the games begin.
Basically, we're playing aerial Rock'em Sock'em robots, and we invited all the flyers in our community to come in, see what they've got.
However, look how fast. Oh no! Oh, it's in the net. If only we had a shotgun.
I just got my combat drone up and running. This is very stable. For under $200, you have a setup that will basically fly itself. You let go of the sticks, it'll stay in one spot.
It's really incredibly thrilling when you're in the air and in competition, fighting against another flying robot.
Oh no! The snowflake has hit the ground.
It's just the beginning. We're at Kitty Hawk stage of an amazing industry.
只要花300块就能为自己量身打造一架无人机，但大部分人对打造没兴趣，他们只想飞。提姆·罗伊特设计了一款在任何地方都能飞的无人机。
The idea behind the Pocket Drone was to take a lot of the advanced features that we were seeing in open source kits and put it into a consumer product that would make this activity more accessible to everyone. And we wanted to create a design that would be more convenient, that you could just have on you. So when you climb to the top of the mountain, you can get that sweeping panoramic shot of all you and your friends. It would be easy to just have in your backpack.
口袋无人机的卖点之一是，它会跟在你后头。
The Follow Me technology basically, it tracks a GPS-connected either smartphone or tablet that you have on you and just stays close to that GPS signal at a fixed distance. So if you're going for a bike ride, it could show you doing some sort of crazy stunt, or it can track you down a field while you're doing some, scoring a goal or playing some sort of game.
究竟有多少人希望能拥有这种技术？一个为了研发口袋无人机而要募集35000元的计划，总共募到快100万，所以产品直接进入生产阶段。
And since then, I've quit my job and I'm working on air droids and the Pocket Drone full time. We want to see parents using these to document their kids, first bike ride, homeowners checking their gutters with it. And we wanted to create a design that would really democratize this and make it more convenient.
有些公司因为推出了使用更便利的无人机而大获成功。Parrot AR 无人机可以用智慧型手机或平板操作，因为使用很简单，让很多宠物无辜受害。DJI 4轴飞行器有 GPS 定位功能，并且配备可动式摄影机。突然间，我们可以从全新的观点看这个世界。因为空中摄影机的可得性提升，因此有了许多新的应用。拍摄婚礼、房地产照片，甚至有人拿来自拍。
We call them aerial robots, but at the end of the day, people don't really care whether the robots or not. They just want their GoPro to get an awesome YouTube video.
We have the ability to put great cameras in the air. For the first time in history, we can see the world from above eye level, and not out of the porthole of a jetliner.
无人机的观点镜头改变了我们观看这个世界的方式，从运动到大自然，甚至连新闻都受到影响。无人机创造了一种新的报道形式，叫做无人机新闻。最早在网络上被疯传的影片，是土耳其警方2013年在塔克西姆广场强制驱离示威抗议者的情景。
The technology has come so far down in price. The quality of stuff that you can get for just a few $100s has really changed the game.
突然间，警方粗暴的手段赤裸裸地摊在世人眼前。影片曝光后，警方的反应也不令人意外。
Oh my.
麦特维特是内布拉斯加大学的新闻学教授，也是普利兹奖得主。
I was at a digital mapping conference in Southern California in 2011 and saw this company selling a product that was a fully autonomous aerial mapping platform. And I thought of every flood, forest fire, hurricane, tornado, any kind of biblical disaster that I'd ever covered as a reporter. And I'm like, here it is. I could have been doing damage assessment stories within a matter of hours had I had this thing. So I went to the dean and said, hey, let's start a drone lab and start talking about this. It just opens up all kinds of new questions about how journalists do what they do.
抢到这波无人机热潮的公司很多。对湖妹啤酒来说，用无人机送啤酒给冰钓客是个很成功的公关噱头。但是当网络巨擘亚马逊宣布要用无人机送货，他们可是认真的很。
Oh, Amazon is serious about drones. Now, whether the Amazon drones will initially go from warehouse to home, or whether they'll go from warehouse to warehouse, remains to be seen.
Google 也认为用无人机送货大有可为，但他们特制的无人机结合了直升机垂直起降和制空性能。与固定翼无人机的航程与速度，抵达目的地后，无人机会在安全距离滞空，空头绑着细绳的商品，让商品安全着陆。这想法很惊人。其实我们现在就可以看到无人机的实际运用了。渥太华的 ING 工程公司从一开始就投入无人机工业，最先是在阿富汗管理加拿大的无人机，所以他们很清楚无人机的用途，比方说可以协助搜救。
So search and rescue is a great application of this technology. Number one, you never do search and rescue on nice sunny days. It's a dark and stormy night. Things have gone wrong for someone, and you need to go out and find them.
无人机能飞越崎岖地形，用装了影像和热感测器的摄影机寻找伤者。飞行员完全不用冒险，甚至还可以空投物资。
You maybe use a robot to actually go and deliver emergency communications. If you can talk to an individual, their chance of survival goes way up, like doubles. So that's what we can enable with robotic aviation.
加拿大皇家骑警队萨克屯分遣队的道格·葛林下士，虽然只有一架小型的交通无人机，还是成功的救了一个人。在一个寒冷的晚上，有一名男子在翻车后行踪不明。
It was evident that there was injuries from this rollover. However, a search of the area by foot could not detect an injured person. With the wind chill, it was about -9. They had cell phone contact with him. He had received a head injury. He was disorientated. He didn't know where he was. He was cold. Shortly after the phone call, his cell phone went dead.The corporal at Saskatoon Rural remembered that our UAV was equipped with a camera that detects heat signatures.
他们的无人机升空后，马上就在树丛边缘发现一个温热物体。葛林下士赶忙指挥搜救人员到那里去，伤者已经失去意识，濒临死亡。
We got him onto the ambulance and back to the hospital in Saskatoon, and he was released several days later.
萨克屯救援事件展现了这种空中之眼的潜力。
The RCMP has about 48 UAVs in operation right now. There's just another tool on the toolbox that we can use.
仅4个月后，另一架皇家骑警队的无人机在新斯科西亚写下了另一个快乐的结局。加拿大针对无人机的商业使用有很明确的规定。无人机必须在视线范围内由经过认证者操作，但是美国的情况不同。2007年后，联邦航空总署禁止一切无人机的商业应用，新的规定即将出炉，但对许多人来说太慢了。金·罗宾森是德州的搜救专家，他成立了一个非营利组织，希望能规避航空总署的规定。
We are up to 30 states that we have had operations in and 4 countries.We have located 10 people so far. We've had 2 live recoveries.
罗宾森早在2000年代初期就开始使用无人机技术，自制翼面，并建立了一家专攻搜救的航空测量公司。
Good to go.
今天，从引导无人机到搜集的整个过程已经全面自动化了。
Typically, the way the aircraft works is we set up a grid search to lay out a mow the lawn pattern. And we will send the aircraft up, and it will mow the lawn, taking pictures the entire way. That gives us our GPS coordinates for each individual picture.
照片能透露一些地面搜救人员看不到的线索。在休士顿德州航道，金的系统找到了其他搜救人员找不到的失踪人士。
This individual had been missing for 2 days. We were called in to assist with the search. We look for things that don't belong in the picture. And we happened to capture this poor soul who was deceased under the water. And if you zoom in on that, you can see that it is a white T-shirt. Here he is right here. And he was just below the surface of the water.
2007年之后，这种活动也在航空总署禁令之列，罗宾森的无人机全部停飞。
3, 2, 1. It is sometimes very heartbreaking to have been told not to be able to fly and have to tell the family that. It can be a very heartbreaking, heart-wrenching experience to say that, we brought a technology, but we can't use it because we've been told by this agency that we cannot. The laws are way behind on keeping up with the technology, as they generally are.
麦特维特也感受到航空总署禁令的影响，他的无人机新闻学课程也停飞了。
For a while, we were actually flying around outside. We were doing so under the belief that since we had no commercial interest in what we were doing as an education institution, we could fly under these hobbyist rules. Well, the FAA sent us a letter in July saying, knock it off. I can give a student a drone. They can go to a park. They can fly around, free to do it. If I make it a graded assignment, suddenly there's value being exchanged, and the FAA here in the U.S. is going to be upset about that.
虽然有诸多限制，但是维特教授的无人机实验室还是传出不少成功的例子。
A student of mine did a piece in India where he was flying around a shipbuilding yard, and it is a 7th or 8th century technique of building these wood fishing vessels. And he was flying near sundown, so this camera footage is just flat and smooth as can be.
这个学生后来在肯亚的报社工作，无人机新闻在肯亚是合法的。
He's working with the Star in Nairobi, and they're flying around doing stories about endangered species conservation in Kenya. And I'm super jealous because they can fly outside and I can't.
还有别人也在挑战美国的商业无人机禁令。由飞行者组成的黑羊团队，以空拍著名地标而闻名。身为业余爱好者，他们不受商业禁令限制，但是队长拉法叶·帕克拍摄维州大学医学院校园，把照片卖给医学院，就进入了商业领域。联邦航空总署开罚1万元，但他一状告上法院，撤销罪名。
The decision is being appealed, so it's subject to being modified or even reversed.
布兰登·舒尔曼是这个案子的辩护律师。
It provides a way forward, or at least a sign that we're going to start moving forward after 7 years of delay. Can you imagine if 20 years ago, at the dawn of the commercial internet, the government had said to businesses in the United States, don't develop this, don't use it for commercial purposes, wait almost a decade and we'll tell you then how you can use it. The American interest in nurturing that new industry is being put at risk by the bureaucratic delay. And to me, that's really quite embarrassing.
但并不是每个人都乐见无人机在头顶盘旋。待会带各位去看猎杀无人机的行动。
They're varmints, and I have a shotgun.
无人机越来越便宜，越来越好操作，从来没有飞过的人也忍不住要尝试。但是操作起来不算易如反掌，操作航空机器人必须要先练习。操作的人常常会犯错，飞越繁忙的街道，或是飞进烟火。影音网站上充满了高危险性的无人机行为，无人机坠毁有时很严重。
Yeah, crashes happen, particularly when you're learning how to fly. I've seen many crashes, many with my own hand. The ones that I have seen are the most common are pilot inexperience. They just haven't flown the thing enough to know what they're doing. Well, if you're flying a drone over people's heads and there's some kind of problem with it, it's going to go down on people's head, and you could harm them significantly. You may even kill somebody.
有危险的不只是地面上的人。这架无人机在温哥华拍摄客机降落国际机场的画面，造成一阵媒体骚动。
I have a little bit of concern about somebody flying too close to the airport and causing a problem. They are fun, but they do have a lot of dangerous capabilities to them. I have seen some videos on YouTube. They've gone up to 3,100 feet, which is way into where there's aircraft.
个人操作无人机也得遵守规定。在加拿大和美国，无人机不能出现在有人居住的地区，不能离开视线范围，或是飞行高度超过90公尺。但是有规定不表示人人都会遵守。
What I do as an aviation company that flies robots, I always follow the rules, and I help to improve the rules and make sure that we are safe. But if you walk into a hobby store and you pick up a quadrotor and you put a little Hero camera on it, you're in business, and you ain't never heard of transport camera, let alone the inspector. A buddy of mine said, "Yeah, I just picked one of these things up. It's great. I've been flying with my kid, and we're having a great time." Well, he's in the airspace.
现在许多无人机可以用内建的摄影机和 GPS 操作，操作者在好几个接口外要执行法规几乎是不可能的。
No, they're not able to enforce it fully. I see drones just flying around populated areas all the time, right? And that makes sense because you can buy one of these things for like $250, right? And so technically you shouldn't be doing it because, you're flying it over a park or over a populated area.
光是追踪无人机查出操作者就已经很难了，如果是僵尸无人机呢？山米·坎卡尔是僵尸无人机专家，他以研究软体漏洞起家，并且制作了一个叫做山米的病毒。
When I was younger, in my teenage years, I wrote a worm on MySpace that made about over 1 million friends in a day before they had to take the site down and remove it.
被调查局逮到，服了3年缓刑后，山米终于可以再开始用电脑了。现在他是个安全顾问，侦测软体瑕疵。他最新的计划是用一个叫天劫的程式偷无人机。
So Skyjack, I created that about a day or so after Amazon announced that they were potentially going to use aerial drones.
山米想知道能不能用一架无人机在空中挟持另一架。
While it's flying around, it's actually seeking out other drones. What Skyjack does is it will actually knock off the owner of another drone, connect to that drone, and then take over. So any other drones in Wi-Fi distance of my Skyjack drone will actually turn into zombie drones under my control. It was kind of a fun, proof of concept and a demonstration of, what the most prevalent drone technology, how it works and how easy it is to break today.
I mean, you've got little things now, like little drones that can hack into other drones and take control of them. And then the criminal acts are committed. But who committed the act? Somebody could take your drone, fly it into your neighbour's window just for fun, smash the window, and your drone's in their house. So it must have been you that did it, and you're going to be sued for it. So it's going to lead to a lot of complexity, really, a lot of complexity.
其中最复杂的是隐私问题，几乎所有无人机都有装摄影机。
I really like drone technology. I think it can be used for a lot of very good purposes. But what really bothers me most about it is the privacy issue. And it's the incidental stuff that you're going to get with drones. How can you not film people? If I fly it up our neighbourhood, I'm going to see in the windows, even if I'm not intending to. It's the incidental use.
如果无人机侵犯到你的隐私权，算不算犯法？不一定。
Yeah, if someone were to fly a drone over your property while you're sunbathing, there'd be a couple kinds of questions that you'd ask, right? So one question is, are they directly over your property?
如果无人机没有在你家正上方，你能采取的行动不多。
Peeping Tom laws tend to require more than just flying a drone around and looking into someone's yard. You got to actually be purposely trying to get a look at somebody that is, sexual in some way, or you have to be harassing. I mean, there's usually an added element.
好吧，陌生人不小心用无人机拍到你，你不能怎样。但如果是你的另一半或私家侦探刻意偷拍呢？
You don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy in public or from a public vantage. And so if a private eye were to put a camera up in front of your house in a place that they're lawfully allowed to be, then you wouldn't really be able to sue them in any privacy theory that I'm aware of.
I noticed there was something called the Drone Journalist Lab, and I thought this was a really exciting development. But it's like everything else, when you think about it for a little while, and I thought, which journalists are really going to want to use this technology? And it's going to be the paparazzi. I mean, you've got no chance against the paparazzi now.
想到有人可以从空中任意偷窥，让不少人开始反对无人机。
Yeah, as somebody who's been working on surveillance and privacy issues for 15 years, it's really been stunning, the outpouring of concern over drones, a technology that really isn't even here yet.
A little microcosm of the sort of public reaction to drones, took place right here in Seattle, where public protest was so vehement that they decided to ground their drones program.
美国有许多城市、8个州和所有国家公园都实施了无人机禁令，造成的后果有时很有争议性。科罗拉多立法禁止打猎时使用无人机，伊利诺州则禁止保护动物人士用无人机骚扰猎人。空中的氛围越来越奇怪。
The reactions are everything from, oh, I'd love to throw a gun on that and hunt deer with it, to I intend to shoot one if it ends up in my backyard. And then you even see a kind of legitimation of that in Colorado, where they report to issue licenses, so you can only shoot down X number of drones if you should see them, which I think is clearly not okay.
在科罗拉多的路径镇，无人机成了大问题。
I view drones as varmints. They're varmints, except they're airborne varmints. My name is Philip Steele. I'm the author of the now famous Deer Trail drone hunting licenses. I have sold drone hunting licenses to every state in the country. And I've also sold 3 drone hunting licenses in Canada and 1 in France. Flying a drone into the airspace above my backyard is trespassing. Plain and simple. That's a criminal act. And I have a shotgun.
Anytime I go talk to a community group, I can tell you the first person who comes up to me is going to be a private property activist. If you fly that over my house, can I pull out my shotgun and shoot it? I don't know if there's any law for or against it, but let's just agree that putting bullets randomly in the air when you don't know where they're going to land is just generally a bad idea.
问题是无人机爱好者多半越挫越勇，这对讨厌无人机的人来说是个坏消息。
Yeah, we heard about the guy who was shooting drones in Colorado with shotguns and wanted to get the hunting license down for that. We thought that was hilarious, and he prompted us to make a shotgun-proof drone.
So that last shot seemed to knock it out of the sky, but for the life of me, I don't really see any damage. I wonder if this thing might lift up again.
And next will be swarm drones. A lot harder to shoot. You'll have not 1 target, but 1,000 targets. It's all about trial by fire and escalation, cause and effect, so keep it coming.
目视是射击的重要条件。军事无人机的好处之一是，可以在高空作业，没人看得到。军方的经费让这个概念发展到全新的境界。
One of the big areas that people would like a lot in the military is the fly and perch function, so that you're not using so much battery. And there's one called the Hummingbird by AeroVironment. It's, as a roboticist, I love this stuff. It's a beautiful looking thing. It looks like a hummingbird, and it's got wings and it can fly. And the idea would then you'd perch it on the roof and it could just sit there for a long time and watch, and then you can fly it away again.
能飞飞停停的机器人，让人几乎无法判定自己有没有被监视。但可以巧巧全天候跟踪任何人的技术即将问世。简称为 Argus 的自主即时地面全域监视系统，可以让在高空5000公尺处的无人机，在40平方公里的范围内 追踪你的一举一动。
This whole image is at a very, very fine resolution. So if we wanted to know what is going on in any spot along this image, say near this building at this intersection, we can generate a moving image that shows what's going on in the area.
Argus 是个18亿画素的成像系统，把300多个小型高画质摄影机结合成一个巨大的镜头，再用软体把这些影像连接成一个解析度惊人的单一画面。
And everything that is a moving object is being automatically tracked. You can see individuals crossing the street. You can see individuals walking in parking lots. There's actually enough resolution to be able to see the people walking around, what kind of clothes they wear.
一旦身份被锁定，你就会被全天候监视。Argus 可以安装在能连续飞行24小时的大型无人机上，飞行时间更长的无人机很快就会问世。
These are aircraft that fly in the upper atmosphere for between 1 and 5 years.
有人担心这种24小时跟监技术会跟另一种已经在跟踪我们的技术结合。手机只是其中一个环节。手机在运作时，必须要知道使用者的位置。
One of the issues I exposed a few years ago was specifically with smartphones, primarily the Apple iPhone, Google Android, and Microsoft Windows phones. I discovered that all three of them are constantly sending information about the location of the user up to their parent company. And I also discovered that some of those phones, specifically the iPhone and Windows Phone, would actually continue to send those coordinates or Wi-Fi location information even when the user said no, turn my GPS or location services off. The smartphones were pretty much tracking where everyone in the world was located who was using one of those types of smartphones. And Apple, Google, and Microsoft were creating sort of vast databases of essentially where every network and every phone in the world pretty much is.
Surveillance on your phone, mobile tracking, or on your iPad or whatever device you're carrying with you is so much harder to avoid than actually the surveillance on the computer.
茱莉亚·安格温是 ProPublica 的记者，也是《天罗地网》一书的作者。
These objects are with us all the time. And then, unlike our computer, they're always transmitting.
还有其他多数人几乎没有意识到的追踪技术，比方说车牌辨识系统、固定式路口监视器、警车，甚至连私人公司都会在你开车时记录你的车牌。
I was shocked to discover that there was a private industry around license plate reading. So I went and visited this company and I said, "Can I see my car?" Boom, pulls up a picture. My car parked in front of my house, like right there, timestamp. And it just sort of shocked me, you know, that I haven't done anything wrong. The thing about that data is there's no laws around it, right? He can do whatever he wants. I mean, literally, he could sell that data to North Korea. So it's the Wild West.
如果保全组织结合了 Argus 等现有的监视系统，我们的隐私可能会荡然无存。
So between the license plates and the cell phone and the physical movements of people, it sort of takes the surveillance to a whole new level of coverage.
这些细节全都可以存起来，以便日后取用。
So you can go back and say, I would like to see what happened at this particular location 3 days, 2 hours, 4 minutes ago, and it would actually show you exactly what happened as if you were watching it live.
This is the eye in the sky. This is the big enchilada of surveillance. It allows the authorities to press rewind on your life and keep records of where every vehicle and pedestrian in that area, starts their journey and finishes their journey and where they stop in between.
这种严密的监控对我们真的有影响吗？
Oh, this is my favorite question. I didn't do anything wrong. I have nothing to hide, so why should I care? The reason to care is information is power. We give away that information, and the people who have it have power over us. That's it.
无人机监视无孔不入的能力，引发了关于隐私权的辩论。
To say that we don't want police looking at people unless we think that they're doing something wrong,
I mean,
would
obviously,
mean that the police never leave their desk.
Right. I mean, obviously that would be silly, right? One thing we're starting to see around the country are police video cameras on the street installed, pointed at the front door of people's houses. Would you like that in front of your house?
No, I would not.
I think most Americans would not. And that is a better analogy to what we're talking about with persistent drone surveillance than a flyover.
I agree with that definition of persistence.
以前的人无法取得这么大量的资讯，到什么地步会开始变得危险？
I had a very interesting trip to Berlin where I went to visit the Stasi archives. So I wanted to see the most repressive secret police regime we've really ever seen in East Germany during the communist regime. But the Stasi did that with very limited information. They had to steam open people's letters, they had to actually listen to their calls and follow people around. This is the kind of effort that our intelligence apparatus never has to go to. Even for the most difficult investigations, right? The amount of data they could pull up with their fingertips would make the Stasi just weep with envy.
And I think a lot in the government would like to store up that information and build up an ocean of data about us so that it can swim through it later looking for wrongdoing. That's just too much power to give the government.
We are not East Germany. We are a democracy. But how do we make sure that we don't get to that place? Because we have an intelligence apparatus that has tools that are so incredibly powerful. So the question there is one of oversight. And I think the question is pretty clear that we don't have adequate oversight, because when Snowden's revelations came out, Congress was surprised, the public was surprised, right? The guy who wrote the Patriot Act said, this is not what I expected my law to be used to do.
Anytime you have a new technology, I think that there's a lag between when the technology comes into use and begins invading people's privacy and when they start to realize that their privacy is being invaded. And I think that we're in that era now.
接下来，来看看飞行机器人未来的展望。在强风吹袭的草原机场上，来自10几个学校的工程队伍躲在一排帐篷里。
This is the 6th Unmanned Systems Canada Student UAV Competition. 13 teams participate in this mission, so they need to design, build and fly unmanned aircraft systems for the agriculture, mining and oil and gas industry.
比赛很吃力。
A few of us that got about 2 hours sleep, a few of us got 4 hours sleep, and a lot of us got no sleep. So.
无人机领域充满了潜力，这是一个累积实战经验的好机会。
It's hands-on experience, and that's something that kind of lack in the classroom. You go to a lecture, you do homework, you don't really get any outside experience.
The only people I've ever met who are into this kind of stuff are the people I meet at my own school, in my own program for the most part.
他们最清楚这种科技进步的有多快。
It's not like you can just bring the same thing year after year and keep winning. So you really need to stay ahead of the game and keep improving your system year after year. Kind of funny when you run into a team from Turkey, for example, and they're running the same sort of equipment that we are and came up with the same ideas. So it's really fascinating.
参赛队伍用各式各样的系统完成主办单位规定的现场测量和绘图任务，显示了这个领域有无穷的可能性。 世界各地类似的活动，正是无人机技术日新月异的原因。价钱越来越低，新功能迅速问世。那么接下来会是什么？首先，新一代的无人机会越来越好用。
So to take off, you'll simply touch the spin up button, check the pre-flight checks, and click the takeoff button.
When we went to go to talk to potential customers, they said, number one, we're not that smart. We've got fat fingers and we break things. That was a quote from the local police. So we needed a technology really that is designed for non-pilots.
At that point, we can drag the height slider to take the vehicle to operational height.
抵达作业高度后，无人机可以依照预定路线展开系统式搜寻或空拍测量。 或是用点选方式手动操作。
And switch to manual mode. I can simply tell the camera to target, and it will spin and automatically target on that point on the ground. As I touch the map, the vehicle will go to where I'm clicking. Again, at this point, I don't even have to see the vehicle, so this could be many kilometers away, and this would all be happening automatically. At the end of my mission, you can simply click the Come Home button. The vehicle will automatically stop what it's doing and fly directly to the place where it took off. The vehicle beeps to let you know to look up because something's coming down from the sky. And as it touches down, the props will spin down and stop. Does everything automatically.
把所有的飞行操作自动化，可以大幅减少操作疏失。但不管飞起来有多简单，无人机还是可能故障。如果旋翼在高空故障，对无人机和站在下面的人都是坏消息。瑞士的专家在研究如何提升无人机的安全性。拉法叶·罗代安德瑞是苏黎世 ETH 实验室动力系统与控制中心的负责人。
You know, right now the way people handle redundancy is by putting extra propellers on the vehicle. So you have 6 propellers, 8 propellers. Now you don't need to do that.
如果换了一具螺旋桨 ，ETH 的方式不是让无人机坠毁，而是让它一边旋转一边飞行。虽然不太好看，但至少可以让无人机留在空中。
That could buy you enough time, you or the autopilot, to slowly land so that you can recover the vehicle.
生产线使用机器人已经有好几十年的历史，无人机施工队也许很快就要出现了。
So we built a 6-meter tall structure made out of 1,500 foam modules. The vehicles were autonomous, and 4 of them took turns simultaneously to pick up the bricks and lay them on the structure. Yeah, it was really a demonstration of how flying machines could revolutionize how we build structures.
今天用的只是发泡砖，但让我们看到了未来的可能性。ETH 实验室的研究人员试着为无人机想到一些前人没有想到过的用途，比方让这架编织无人机在紧急状况时搭一座绳桥。他们利用数学和复杂的演算法，尝试一些大部分人连想都没有想过的事。有时候无人机的能耐，连他们都很惊讶。
You know, the 3 vehicles working together to throw the ball up in the air, that's a great demonstration of what vehicles can do collectively. You know, it's clear that one vehicle alone wouldn't be able to do this. They need to really coordinate their actions in order to propel a ball up in the air. What's amazing is, you know, this propelling up motion. That looks very violent, but that never fails. So we dream these things up, and then we try to do them. We wanted to come up with a demonstration where we could demonstrate adaptation and learning. So we try to think of a task where it's really important to have the vehicle oriented in a very precise orientation. And we thought, you know, why not put a camera on it, have it do a really aggressive maneuver, these very high-speed figure eights, but always have the camera point in the exact same spot.
目标是让无人机绕着2个人飞行，同时摄影机聚焦在这2个人的头部。摄影机显示无人机开始时的表现很不稳，但很快就抓到窍门了。
So it starts and it does a pretty bad job at the beginning, so it has to learn and adapt.
无人机不断地修正飞行路线，以得到最好的结果。
As it's flying and it's learning, it can compensate for the difference between what it thought reality was to what it actually is. I mean, this is what we do all the time as human beings. If we play sports, if we're playing basketball, you know, we grab a ball and we shoot it. It doesn't go in. We modify our actions based on what we observe, and you know, it's learning. Again, it's one of those things. Once you figure out how to break the problem down and execute it, all the components are, you know, they're not magic. You put the whole thing together, it does look like magic. 10 years from now? I don't know.
宾州大学的机器人实验室也在探索新的可能性。无人机最迷人的应用是群集，让一大群无人机以集体蜂巢式意识运作。
When you talk about swarms, naturally there's some notion of the collective that immediately comes to mind. So yes, it is about collective intelligence.
实验室也在测试无人机速度和精确的极限。
So we're interested in these high-speed aggressive maneuvers because in some sense they represent the limits of what our systems can accomplish. They also are demonstrating superhuman performance. They can maneuver much faster than humans can.
无人机已经可以利用 GPS 在户外飞行了，但是室内呢？新的 3D 绘图技术解决了这个问题。
The only way you can tell where you are is relative to features that you observe. So in some sense, our robots have to estimate where they are in the environment roughly 100 times a second in order to just survive.
目标是设计一款紧急应变时的超级工具。
So I look forward to the day when there's a 911 call and by the time the person is hung up, robots storm the building, dashing through the building at 4 to 5 meters per second. And then getting all this information, by the time they come back out, all this information is fused and presented as a synthetic map to a human being who's outside. That's the kind of thing we're working towards.
群级无人机可能是一种救人无数的技术，但是跟其他技术一样，可以用来做好事，也能做坏事。
It would be so easy even now. All you have to do is get one that can carry 60 kilos and you can buy those and just fill it with explosives and you just fly anywhere and make it drop wherever you want. You can stop one of them, but if there's 100 or even 20, how do you shoot them all down? And it's surprising that we haven't seen this really, but we will.
接下来，我们是不是应该让精灵回到神灯里呢？
I think drones are actually one of the first issues I've seen where people are really voting and saying, no, this is too much.
如果无人机的时代已经来临了，我们该担心吗？
If I were to say that I had 3 concerns around drones that were really, if not keep me up at night, then worry me continuously. The first would be overuse by the police. The second is that there will be individuals who misuse drones in some way. But I have to say I worry just as much about the prospect that we're going to lose out on this transformative technology because of the backlash.
And honestly, this is the history of technology in America and in really the world. I can tell you stories about how people absolutely flipped out in the 1890s when the Kodak Brownie came about. They posted guards at beaches to block people from taking cameras out on public beaches because people were freaked out about being photographed in their bathing clothes. And people wrote these grand essays about how all of public life is forever destroyed because you can now be captured in candid moments. And a few years later, we didn't know what all the fuss was about.
无人机给了我们社会如何运用监视技术的新观点。
I think drones have been already a little bit of a tipping point for privacy. I mean, we have more states that have proposed and passed drone privacy laws in the United States than have passed, I think, any other kind of privacy law, and that's only in the past year or two. So I think drones are actually one of the first issues I've seen where people are really voting and saying, no, this is too much. You've gone too far with the surveillance. You don't need to watch me from the sky.
I like the example of Iowa City that banned not just drones, but at the same time re-examined license plate readers and traffic cameras and so forth. I think that's the right approach, to sort of think through how technology is being used in your city.
We should be able to put in place some good ground rules to protect our privacy so that we can gain all the benefits of these really cool technologies and have drones deliver burritos and help find children lost in the woods and all the good uses of this technology and other technologies without giving up our privacy. There's no reason we can't do that.
And I think that this drone technology could completely change our world and change our lives. This could be a very scary world. On the other hand, it may be a utopia, who knows?
也许有了合适的法规，我们都可以享受无人机的好处。
10 years, I think that you'll ask any reporter at any newsroom, are you guys going to use a drone to cover that brush fire? And they're going to look at you like you're insane. Of course we are. Like, why wouldn't we?
I think that just within a few years, that drone use will be pretty routine. You'll have an agreement among parents about whose drone will be able to film the soccer game. You know, I mean, I think these kinds of things are going to be embedded into daily life sooner than you think.
We adapt to technology. A technology comes along, we apply our values and our morals and our ethics to them. We incorporate them into our society and we move along. And this is no different. This is going to happen someday. But it's going to be interesting while it happens.
Zoot!